Ryomen Sukuna, the king of curses, and a 1,000-year-old vengeful spirit that is regarded as being one of, if not the, strongest Jujutsu sorcerer in history. The Gun Devil, a catastrophic anomaly born from humanity's inability to escape violent trends and wars that are fought with the most modern and lethal weapons of the current time. Two beings that each hold responsibility for drastically reducing the populations of the respective worlds they reside in. With how closely aligned the evil entities known as cursed spirits and devils are with each other, I thought it would be interesting to join them together, creating an opportunity to pit the King of Curses, Sukuna, up against one of humanity's necessary evils, the Gun Devil, who represents a purer form of evil, humanity's pursuit into the abyss, or the abyss itself. Given the crossover of the two series, if the two were to oppose each other in some sort of cursed devil turf war, who would ultimately end up eliminating the other? Another, perhaps more important question is, can this asshole bring a knife to a gunfight and win? Regarding the existence of both cursed spirits and devils, it was already alluded to earlier that the two entities share a lot in common. In Jujutsu Kaisen, cursed spirits, or just curses, are spiritual beings created from the negative emotions released from humans on a daily basis. Seasonal depression, traumatic events, or even places known to harbor sad memories such as schools or hospitals are all a driving force that accelerates the growing cursed population. All unexplained disappearances or homicides in Japan are the result of curses. Because this overall just leads to more negative emotion, it creates a vicious cycle amongst the Japanese population. It has become such a problem that even well-known legends or folktales are sprouting curses shaped in their likeness, due to cultural significance or urban legends spread about. Shifting gears, let's take a look at Chainsaw Man's devils. A devil is a supernatural being born initially in hell. It is created out of a tangible concept or idea in the human world. This amounts to simplistic devils surrounding things like fish or even a tomato, but it can also involve abstract ideas such as the future or something primal like darkness. There doesn't necessarily have to be any fear surrounding the name of the devil per se, more so relying on the fear humanity collectively shares around such a topic. The amount of fear in general determines the devil's power level. Examples like the blood devil or a car devil can be vastly powerful. Not because cars or blood are inherently scary, but because those things can be scary in ways of car crashes or gore. Thus, the power of the devil is able to feed off of that. Devils can be friendly as well, although it depends on the nature of the being. Notable examples would be the angel devil or spider devil, who aren't initially hostile, but do carry a lethal ability if necessary. Both curses and devils are born from humanity's imaginations, devouring their strengths from the fear and trauma that surrounds them. Ryomen Sukuna being a special case in this matter, as originally he began his journey as a human sorcerer. Sukuna eventually evolved into something greater, ascending to stand over all cursed spirits as the one reigns supreme. In a turf war against Chainsaw Man's devils, there is no better choice than the Fallen One himself to step into the ring. And for the devil's side, while there are plenty of terrifying and powerful entities to choose from, a long foreshadowed antagonistic force like the Gun Devil's impact on its world grants it a reputation as heinous as the King of Curses. So let's stop beating around the bush and get into the who, what, where, and why are you so goddamn evil, so we can have a better understanding before deciding the winner of this 10-year-old's daydream.
いい機会だ。教えてやる。本物の呪術というものを。領域展開。
Beginning with the King of Curses himself, Ryomen Sukuna's domination over the entire Jujutsu world is something not a single fan or even hater could question. A staple of Jujutsu Kaisen's most chaotic time, the Heian era. In his prime over 1,000 years ago, Sukuna was so strong it was impossible to actually take him down. The only reason Sukuna was able to be stopped was by sealing his power into 20 separate wax finger effigies. Only now has Sukuna returned after one of those fingers gets ingested by our main character Itadori Yuji. Since the king's rebirth, he has slowly but steadily regained his true power with every finger Yuji devours, willingly or not. To date of this video, having consumed at least 15 of the 20 effigies, every time Sukuna appears, it's a reminder that true Jujutsu sorcery in this modern era has been lost to time and unchallenged conservatism. Even with only 3 fingers of power, Sukuna is able to run circles around most of his own manga. And once Sukuna reaches his current total of 15, he is forcing the nation of Japan to redraw their maps and leveling entire cityscapes. But let's back up a bit. The first chance we get to see what Sukuna was capable of was back in the fearsome Womb arc, after incarnating into Yuji and being faced up against a special grade curse spirit, which, for reference, that's the highest level of curse. Said to be so strong, even military grade carpet bombing may or may not actually harm them. Sukuna looks right at this man, pats him on the shoulder like he's an NPC. Hold on, bruv, I'm thinking. For reference, this special grade literally almost folded our entire main cast about a half hour ago. And Sukuna is treating him like little bro after one look at him. Sukuna's arrogance is one of his most notable features, but it is not misplaced by any means. This might just be the most justified cockiness ever displayed in anime history, as in this exact same fight, Sukuna displays multiple different feats that make it clear why he was called King of Curses. Sukuna has high speed regeneration due to being a master of the healing reverse curse technique. Attack power and speed are also notable, as Sukuna is able to outspeed the special grade curse in their fight, even ripping off the curse's arm without it noticing until it's sitting there watching Sukuna hold it in front of him. Later on, still at 3 fingers by the way, when Sukuna decides to pick on Fushiguro, the King of Curses launches Megami literally thousands of feet into the air, only to just flash behind this man and knock his ass into the entire opposite direction. All of this monstrous power is only further amplified when increased to 15 fingers, unlocking more of Sukuna's sealed strength. At this level, Sukuna is durable enough to get tossed through 5 buildings without a scratch, as well as deliver more powerful curse techniques like dismantle and cleave, slash attacks that seem capable of cutting through a large portion of a building. On top of his instant heal ability with reverse curse technique, Sukuna has been shown able to survive for a length of time even when missing internal organs like a heart. Although, even if the need for the organ does ever arise, his reverse curse technique has been shown able to revive himself or even others from death. The most destructive act the King of Curses is capable of is Ryomen Sukuna's domain expansion, a divine painting on air itself, a completely barrierless domain known as Malevolent Shrine. By combining his techniques Cleave and Dismantle, ordering the one attack to target everything in range with cursed energy, while the other destroys all inanimate objects, Sukuna's slashes delete everything in an approximately 200-meter radius. This specific attack resulted in the demolishing of a large section of Shibuya. The king demands an opponent of equal worth, should he even grace the devils with his presence. The Gun Devil, however, I think exceeds qualifications. Unlike Sukuna, the Gun Devil seems to lack any personality of its own. Although born out of the fear and tragedy of mankind's weaponry, Senseless Massacre never really does have much of a solid face. As the fear of shootings grew, another massive attack took place in America. On this day in history, the Gun Devil emerged from hell. Within 5 minutes of the Gun Devil's appearance, over 1.2 million people lost their lives across the world. Not a single location was spared from the Devil's influence. After overexerting itself in its first attack, the Gun Devil broke off into multiple parts. 20% of the Gun Devil is now owned by the US, 28% by the Soviets, 11% by China, 4% by varying nations, and the other 37% is scattered, possessed by many different devils around the planet. In the Gun Devil arc of Chainsaw Man, we only witnessed the 20% portion of the Gun Devil that is contracted by the United States President. Without any alternative information, this will be the form used for purposes of the video. Although appearing to be mindless, the Gun Devil is still capable of making contracts with humans, whether for its own interests or the nations commanding it. Even if one of these contracts is to hunt one singular person, as you'll see in this breakdown, the Gun Devil is incapable of launching an attack on someone or something without causing a catastrophic event. When making its move, the Gun Devil has two passive abilities that are immediately activated upon awakening. The first of which is the instant assassination by headshot of every adult male within approximately 1,000 meters of the Gun Devil. The second, simultaneously casted with the first, is that exact same method of attack, but instead now targeting only children through the ages of 0 to 12 within an estimated range of 1,500 meters. All of this occurring in less than 1 second after activation. These two abilities are continuously in effect with the Gun Devil at their epicenter, meaning as the Gun Devil moves towards its target, the devastation of these two attacks follow its direction. The Gun Devil is able to sight targets from at least 500 meters away, at which point it has multiple attacks it is also able to fire manually. While the Gun Devil is using these new attacks, its passive abilities do not cease. Its first real attack fires a bullet through the heart of every living thing not born in either April, July, or October. Literally the only good time to be a Cancer. This is just the start of the Gun Devil's assault, as it can still ultimately fire at a target directly if all else fails. Even with all of that attack power though, the Gun Devil seems to lack durability. Although it can eliminate over 5 to 6 figures of people in less than 7 seconds, with just one good counterattack, the Devil could fall. The Gun Devil is the classic definition of a glass cannon. Although it's impossible to assume what the combined power of the devils that took the Gun Devil out were, it's still a notable enough event to say its defense stat is definitely lower than its attack stat. Gun Devil, naughty nature confirmed. After deliberating on both parties, the most concrete opinion between the two of them is that the Gun Devil is a hard combatant to share a one-on-one battle with. Its area of effect, not just in its personally targeted attacks, but its passive abilities as well, incredibly outshine any known Jujutsu technique. Putting a realistic spin on this crossover, assuming certain circumstances, the two entities would respect each other's existences. You don't mess with me, I don't mess with you kind of shit, right? Sukuna would never bow to another being, but would probably be fine left to his own vices in his own region. While after its awakening, just like current day Chainsaw Man, the Gun Devil would just want to live out its retirement quietly and work from the shadows. These two demons would never come face to face through arrogance or pride. A more likely scenario, Sukuna is deemed a threat to humanity by a world government, resulting in the US sicking the Gun Devil on him. As Sukuna revels in chaos, it isn't hard to imagine him antagonizing someone in this weird Chainsaw Jujutsu crossover world. So, contracted by the United States to put a permanent cease and desist on Ryomen Sukuna's reign in his cursed kingdom, what would be the result of a destructive battle between these two? Other than an absolute genocide of people that have next to nothing to do with this, of course. With all the presented information, I think it's fair to say Sukuna may have met his match when it comes to United States gun violence. With automatic abilities that cause immediate threat to the king, massive damage would befall Sukuna before he could even attempt to get in range. The Gun Devil's largest advantage in this fight would be the difference in effect range between the two beings. Even with Sukuna's speed feats of hopping between different points of Shibuya in the blink of an eye, the massive bullet spray of the Gun Devil's auto start ability essentially creates a multi-layered wall of defense around the Gun Devil at all times. And even if Sukuna manages to come within a 500-meter radius, he immediately comes into range of the Gun Devil's other attacks. And I'm not really sure of Sukuna's zodiac sign, but he seems like a Leo to me. To fully state and defend Sukuna's case though, as you can see back in the Gun Devil evidence, a generous gap in Sukuna's favor between the two of them is durability. While Sukuna is able to recover lost body parts and organs in no time, shown to keep composure after critical damage, durability has been called into question for the Gun Devil for sure. It can be assumed that one good malevolent shrine will be enough to eviscerate 20% of the Gun Devil. Meanwhile, Sukuna could probably take a couple bullets and not tap out, depending on where they hit at least. As another major threat to the King of Curses is the Gun Devil's knack for headshots. One thing I didn't mention before was that in Jujutsu Kaisen, the organ responsible for controlling a sorcerer's flow of cursed energy, the lifeblood of Jujutsu, is the brain. In a battle between two veterans, targeting the brain is a common tactic, as it leaves no chance for a reverse curse technique that heals. This means, even with tough defense and quick regeneration, if Sukuna takes a large enough shot to the dome, or more realistically, with the kind of heat this Gun Devil is packing, loses his damn head entirely, Sukuna has no way to revive without control over his cursed energy. With his only chance being to get within 200 meters of the Gun Devil and cast his domain expansion, a bullet storm from hell 800 meters long stands between him and his goal. And don't think I'm downplaying Sukuna's speed here. These bullets are constantly firing, hitting their mark in less than 1 second. The window of opportunity for Sukuna to dodge every bullet that comes his way, and God forbid he does get shot by any, hope none of these bullets hit his brain, it takes even more time for Sukuna to form his hand signs and cast his domain. Meanwhile, I must remind you, in the middle of a impossible bullet hell game, and then catch the Gun Devil off guard with a malevolent shrine before he either moves or, I don't know, aims better? I'm sorry, man. In your own verse, you're top G. I just don't see you coming out of this one, bruv. Alright, look, just because I like him, let's change the entire video. I feel bad. Sukuna vs Gun Fiend now. If you're not familiar with Chainsaw Man's concept of fiends, we'll go through a quick explanation and see if we can give the King of Curses some redemption. Fiends are devils that have taken over a human corpse, usually as a last resort for survival. It has this reputation because after becoming a fiend, the devil loses a significant portion of their power. Fiends are easily identified by a distinct head shape, and the devil's personality almost always overrides the original human consciousness. There are some rare cases where these personas fuse accidentally, or coexist independently of each other. After its canonical defeat, the Gun Devil resorts to becoming a fiend to save itself and escape. Although it does lose access to most of its powers, the Gun Fiend can still easily render a city a wasteland with little effort. The reason I bring this up is because a battle between Gun Fiend and Sukuna would be a much more balanced fight. By cutting out the huge distance gap and the whole automatic one-hit KO thing, Sukuna stands on a much more even playing field with the devil. The King of Curses can't drop all of his guard, as the Gun Fiend's blasts are still shown devastating enough to rip Denji in half when hit. And even though the Gun Fiend does have some speed behind it, compared to Sukuna, who can, again, blink in and out of different areas of an entire city, Sukuna's advantage in speed would actually mean something in this matchup. Combining that with his more versatile slashing technique, Sukuna's overall fighting style would shine through in this battle way more than the previous. Which leads us to the final verdict. Sukuna vs the Gun Devil, Sukuna loses, and doesn't really have any chance to turn that outcome around. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Sukuna vs Gun Fiend, Sukuna should easily be able to assert his dominance over this much weaker, more manageable version of the Gun Devil. And there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out some of my other power scaling content, as well as hit the like and subscribe button to let me know you want to see more stuff like this in the future. Comment down below and let me know if you feel this matchup goes any differently. I appreciate you making it all the way to the end, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.